Today I'm joined by my friend Peter Bond, who's recorded to have one of the highest sales in history with India, a sale worth about $2.7 billion. So who better to talk to us about negotiation today? So is that $2.7 billion deal, is that your most memorable deal? I know there's some internet marketers that have, say, made $2 million in one day, yet they say their first sale of a $20 book was more memorable.
Well, it was a very important deal for the company. My company, Linc Energy, is an ASX 200 company. We have 15,000 shareholders. We have a reasonably large media presence in the financial press. And a lot of people were commenting about whether I could do that coal deal or not. Even though we're under a lot of pressure, I have a philosophy that, you know, the person in the room with the most options wins. So we're constantly running options on that deal right up to the last week of the deal. But at the end of the day, it's about knowing what you want and staying focused on what you want, and also finding out what the other party wants. I mean, a lot of people miss the obvious. They really do try to second guess the opposition or the buyer or seller too much. They put their own personal beliefs onto them when it's got nothing to do with that. I did a deal once where I got exactly what I wanted, the price I wanted and everything else. All I had to do was basically give the guy a seat on the board and a couple of niceties on the side. In the terms of a multi-million-dollar deal, it was nothing. It was literally a rounding error to me. But that's what the guy wanted, to exit the business gracefully. So it's not always what you think. It's not always about money. It's not always about ego. Sometimes it's about human interaction and your ability to present your point of view more than anything. It's not necessarily about salesmanship. Salesmanship is really about bringing opportunity together and then making it happen. You simply spend time as human beings interacting. I mean, I will fly anywhere in the world to interact with a person to get a deal done, anywhere. I mean, I flew to Alaska, I flew to Calgary to cut a $50 million oil deal on my 25th wedding anniversary. Wow. Because I had to interact with the guy. Well, I got the deal done. Might have had to work doubly hard on the back end of the other side of it.
So how do you deal with egos?
Well, ego's brilliant. I love dealing with egotists. They're great. Because with egotists, you know what drives them. Ego. So all you got to do is just simply say, take a step back and just let their ego roll. Yeah, absolutely. Let their ego be the maker of them or the undoing of them. It's irrelevant to you. You just want to do a deal. You're not there to be their mother. I mean, once somebody shows themselves to be, and you don't understand, I deal with billionaires. You want ego? Get in a room with some of the people I deal with. And it can be pretty significant.
So in your negotiations, you deal with Indians, you deal with Chinese, you deal with Australians. Do you adapt your negotiations to different cultures?
Well, there's two answers to that. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, absolutely. And we're all driven by the same drivers that drive humanity. So love of our family and friends, the need to get ahead, the need to do better, all those things drive everybody. I mean, everybody. Whether it be Mongolia, Mozambique, doesn't matter where you go to. Everybody is driven by the simple format that they want to be happy and they want to get ahead. And your role is to be a conduit for them to achieve that.
How do you deal with rebuttals?
Well, I find it interesting, and a lot of my commercial guys and business development guys and salesmen make an absolute massive mistake, and that is that as they get to know people and they engage with people, they make the mistake that they then care about what they think. I have great friends, I have great family, and I do not give a rat's bum whether I add to that. And in business, I have a very, very black and white philosophy, and that is I view it as a football field, and I am the captain coach in the middle of the field. I have over 400 employees, which are on the field. I have 15,000 shareholders, which are in the stands cheering for me. And anybody on the other side of that is who I'm meant to beat that day. It's that simple. You're there to walk off that football field at the end of every day, the winner. My 15,000 shareholders, my 400, nearly 500 employees do not expect me to give away a free kick. They don't expect me to run up and pat him on the head and go, gee whiz, holy gosh, go get a free try against me. Here's some, no. They expect me to do my job. I got beaten on a deal some years ago, and it's rare. And the guy outplayed me. And I won't bore you, because when you get to a certain size and aspect, it really is a very big game. You are moving lots of chess pieces. And there's a big energy company against me. And the guy outplayed me, and then he played his hand, he sold the company, and it was an interesting game he played. And he hit me with a legal order, with a court order on a particular issue. This is years ago. And I laughed. And everyone said, why did you laugh? And I said, because it's exactly what I would have done. It was like, okay, well, let's pass it to the wing and run it down the wing, and then have the big guy hit the little guy. And it was when I stood back and looked at it and thought, okay, he played ahead of me. He was better than me on the day, which brings me to another point. But I had to admire it. I had to walk off that day, that football field, and acknowledge him as the better player.
So when you negotiate, are there things that you learn that you then take to the next deal?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of it is really understanding the opposite person. I mean, I also have a feeling that you should leave a bit of money on the table for the next guy. It's not about you trying to screw every single dollar out of every single deal.
So there are different strategies that you use for different situations?
Well, my strategy is very simple. It's about profit. You know, there's an old saying, you never go broke taking profits. But you do go broke getting greedy. And it's that fine line between knowing what is a nice and a good and reasonable profit. The rule is that anything over what you're satisfied with as a profit or as a number is a bonus. And it's not about screwing that last dollar. It's about being happy with whatever that bonus may be.
So when you're negotiating on a deal, how do you know the difference between something that's worth, say, $300 million to $400 million? How do you know what it's worth?
That's a very interesting question. In fact, I've written a whole chapter in an educational book I use that is based on how you value something, and it's extraordinarily difficult. At the end of the day, the rule is always whatever the market pays is the price. How many people do I know that could have sold the house for $590,000, but then the crunch came and the house dropped to $400 or $350 or whatever, or they had a share that they were going to sell at $250, and then it went to $3, and they got a bit greedy and thought, gee whiz, I'll sell it $4. I mean, you made your profit. You're happy with the outcome. As soon as you get to that point, if you've got a twinge and that twinge feels like greed, that's a dangerous feeling. You really do need to step back from that point and say, okay, you know what, I'm happy with this. The time component of what you do with money is as material as the money. I mean, what I can do with the cash I got from that original deal, I've been able to parlay it into numerous oil assets in North America, and some very good assets. Now, it's got 2 or 3 years to play out, but I'll parlay that into several billion, I'm sure.
So what is it about you that you think helps you get deals across the line?
Persistence is a big driver of it. Going the extra mile is a huge part of it, not settling. You've got to be absolutely committed to whatever it takes. That in itself will transform your life.